Good morning and welcome back to the channel. I'd like to take a minute to welcome any new visitors and appreciate you clicking on the video and checking out what I have to say about this topic today. It's a beautiful morning down here on this creek on the backside of my property, and awesome sunrise, and it's supposed to be just an absolute gorgeous day, so we'll definitely make the most of that. But if you're unfamiliar with the channel, my name's Scott, and I do some adventures, some small adventures, some longer when the weather permits. You can see anything from knife reviews to maybe a mountain bike video here and there. But this morning we are going to take a look at the Swedish torch. Actually, this variation is just the rocket stove. So I'll go into a little bit more about what I know and what I've researched on the origin and the history of these rocket stoves and Swedish torches. But I thought it'd be a fun opportunity to come down here on a beautiful morning and boil some water, cook a breakfast, and just see how this thing does. So stick around, let's see what happens. So really the only tools that we'll need for the little project is the Scotch-eyed auger, which is the most important piece. We've already used the saw to cut our handle for our auger and to cut the little small piece of wood. Now, this piece of wood I actually hiked down in here. If you were going to spend any time more than say 2 or 3 hours, you would obviously want a bigger log or piece of wood. But we've got our knife for processing some fat wood right there. We got a little bit of fat wood, and we've got our ferrocerium rod in the bag there. So those are the tools that we use. Let's get going on cutting it up. Okay, I only went down, I didn't go too far down. If I had to guess, I'd say I'd go about right there. So let's get something started there. Having a small piece of wood, there's a drawback. It wants to totally spin on you. So this direction will be a lot easier because I can hold the wood in between my feet. All right, guys, we've got our hole drilled here in the top and our hole drilled here on the side for the oxygen to get in. So now I guess we can just go ahead and light it up. Let's find a good spot for it. I'm gonna see if I can't get some fat wood shavings down in the hole there. Fat wood has just become just my go-to source for igniting fires. It's just a no-nonsense material. It catches flame really quick. And so what we're going to do is we're not going to fill this hole where it's really compacted. I want it kind of loose in there. And then what we'll do is we'll make some curls on a stick to stick in the side. Let's strike this up and see if we can get this little torch going this morning. There we go. I'll take this one. I don't want to suffocate it, so just kind of ease it in there a little bit there. I can hear it cranking. Just gonna drop it on there. So that's what you want to see right there. We'll give that a few minutes and we'll keep a close eye on it. In the meantime, while that's happening, I'm gonna grab a few pebbles to put around the top of my stove. So when I boil my water on here, we have a way to raise the pot above that. If not, you would just suffocate the fire. So, but we've got to wait until our stove is good and lit. That's what you want to see right there. Fire out the top. The cool thing about these torches is if you get a wind direction that's opposite of your hole, you can actually pick the torch up and move it around to your advantage. Just a beautiful spot. All right, you guys see how the smoke is blowing in that direction, and the oxygen hole is on the opposite side. So what we're gonna do, it's still getting plenty of oxygen, but we're gonna turn it into the direction where the wind is going. There we go. And now we should get more feed. Yeah. Oh yeah. Shouldn't be long. We'll be having some tea, and then we'll cut up some veg and some sausage and eggs. Friends, while our water is coming to a boil, let's get some things chopped up for our breakfast this morning. I like my sausages in bite-sized chunks. Then we got some bell pepper here. We'll just make that a little bit smaller. And all right, so let's talk about a little bit of what I found out researching these Swedish torches and rocket stoves and Canadian candles and what have you. It appears that no one can pinpoint a distinct origin, like who was the first peoples to invent something like this. But in my research, I found it interesting that the Swedish actually used it during the 30 Years' War in the 17th century. And there are a couple of reasons why. The climate there, it's a Nordic country, and Russia and Sweden and Finland and Norway, I mean, there is a lot of time during the year where there's snow on the ground. So as far as the Swedes during the 30-year war, what I come to find out is that there was really no way to really transport firewood. They may get somewhere where there was limited resources, and so they would use these logs. They would cut a log, and a dead log, and bore it out, or they would cut it in a way where I'll show you a clip of a Swedish torch that I made at the house in the fire pit. And so the way those things worked, you could use your axe and your knife or whatever, and depending on the kind of wood, whether it was hardwood or conifer or something like that, would depend on the amount of hours you would get out of one torch. And so I've been down here for 30-45 minutes, and this thing is very small, and it's still got a whole lot of time left on it. Now, I will say that for cooking, it's ideal. For keeping warm, there's not a lot of radiant heat around this thing. Kind of a wicked sound. Almost does sound like a rocket stove or a rocket. Maybe that's where they got the name for it. see, our stove is actually has caught a crack and is it's burning really good now. We finally got a little breeze down here. It took quite a while to boil that water, but yeah, now we're looking pretty good. But need to cook that food on up because I think this torch, once it starts to really get in there, it goes pretty fast. But so far so good. I'm enjoying it. All right, looks like we're gonna have some sort of scrambled, fried concoction. Well, my friends, it's about time to dig in. It's not the prettiest thing you've ever seen. It's not the best meal I've made out here, but I haven't eaten this morning and I'm looking forward to digging in. So eggs, avocado, sausage, and orange peppers. So let's check it out. Well, there's a little ash in there, but it's hitting the spot. So thoughts on the rocket stove. It's fun. You know, would I use it in a survival situation? Sure, if there was limited resources, but to come out and just enjoy a morning, I think I would almost rather just build a fire, just a traditional campfire. Between boring into the wood, which, you know, it's not that hard of a job or whatever, but you know, it's a few extra steps than just laying some sticks across each other and firing them up. I think I almost would prefer the Swedish torch. In that little clip I showed you earlier in the video, it spread the fire around. I had to, in the beginning stages when I was boiling water for that tea, I really had to go at it for a while. I don't know if the wood still had some moisture in it. I mean, I thought it was dry as a bone. I thought it was dry when I drilled into it, but I don't want to have to kind of do that much just to get a fire going. But it was a good time. I got a good meal out of it. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.